Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up showing you all the books that I read in the month of August. The first week of August was Booktubeathon and so I read a lot of books during that time. After that, however, I had to focus on my assignments and my reading kind of went downhill from there. However, I still managed to read a total of 14 books this month, so I'm pretty pleased with myself. So let's get into all the books that I read and show you them. First book I read this month was probably the worst book I read this month, and it was Varro by Alex Van Tool. I'm just going to really quickly go through the ones that I read for Booktubeathon because I already did a Booktubeathon wrap up and daily update, so you've probably seen this like your third time now. So I'm just going to really quickly go through them. Hated it, you can see why in my previous videos. Then I read Dumpling by Julie Murphy. Really liked it. Rated it 4 stars. It was really enjoyable. I would highly recommend checking it out when it comes out. Love at 14 by Fuka Mutsuni. It was okay. Pretty meh. It was a manga. It really needed something though. It was just a little bit bland. L'Oreal by Laurel Dockrell. Has mermaids, has pirates, seems to be a retelling of Little Mermaid and then just takes a whole U-turn and gets really bizarre. However, I really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. The first 4 volumes of the Inuyasha manga by Rimiko Takahashi. I enjoyed these ones. I've seen the anime, so I wanted to pick up the manga. I'll be definitely continuing on with the series, and I rated each volume a 3 out of 5 stars. Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. Really enjoyed this one, however I felt it to be a little bit slow at times, and I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I've done a review of it, which you can check out if you want to. Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, the second book in the series. Loved it. It was fantastic. Everything that I ever wanted. 5 out of 5 stars. Have done a review of it. Will be out shortly. Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas. Enjoyed it. Was a little bit slow for me again, like the first book in the series. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. Again, have done a review of it, will be out shortly. And they're all the books that I read in Booktubeathon. So now I'll start slowing down and telling you my full thoughts a little bit more of what I thought of them. I just didn't do it for those books because you've already heard me talk about them, and if you haven't, go watch my other videos. So after reading the Throne of Glass series, I really wanted to pick up The Assassin's Blade, which is 5 short stories, I think, set in the Throne of Glass world by Sarah J Maas. I really enjoyed this one. I felt like this one gave a lot more character development to Selena, and I got to understand her character a lot more. It gave a little bit more world building, and I really enjoyed it, and I rated each story a 5 out of 5 stars, which normally doesn't happen to me in short story binds up like this one. I normally have one story that I just didn't really like, but every story in here I absolutely loved. I've also done a review of this one, which will be coming out shortly, so you can check that if you want to, but I really enjoyed it and I would highly recommend it. It's not necessary to the series, but I think it's necessary if you want to know more about Selena and understand why she is the way she is. Then I read Birdie by Jess Valance. This is a creepy thriller book about 2 people that become best friends. However, one of them starts to take things a little bit too far and starts to have an obsession. I saw the plot twist coming in this book, however I still enjoyed it, and I rated it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I also have done a review of it, so you should check that out when it's out, but I really did enjoy this one. And then I read Black Cane Point by Claire McFall. I can never say this person's name. This one is a horror book. It's about these 5 teenagers who go on a camping trip and stuff starts to go down. It's told in both present and past tense. Past being what happened on the camping trip and present being a year later, where it's discovered that only 2 people out of the 5 have survived this camping trip. And Heather, who is one of the people that have survived and who we get to see her point of view throughout this book, is being blamed for these people's murders. No one believes her what's happened, and she needs the other person who survived the camping trip, Dougie, who is currently in a coma from the camping trip, to wake up and tell them what happened. It was a horror book. I didn't see the plot twist at the end. I did to a certain degree, but not all the way, and therefore I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed where it went, and I thought it was a really fun, but at times creepy, which is generally what you want in a horror book. I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I also have done a review on it, so you can check that out when it is out. And then I read Party Games by R.L. Stine. This is a continuation on with the Fear Street series, which I used to love when I was younger. I read Goosebumps, and then there were Fear Streets, and so R.L. Stine, and it's like he was bringing them back. And so I was like, yes, I used to love them. I can't wait to read them. These are marketed to young adult horror books, and I was highly disappointed. When I go back and read my other Fear Street books, I don't find them as bad as this one or the other one that I'm about to show you. The dialogue was cheesy. The storyline was cheesy. It was at times frustrating to get through because you knew absolutely everything that was coming. There were no plot twists, jump scares. It was so cheesy, and I just really didn't enjoy it. I was thoroughly disappointed, as these books are part of my childhood and they're marketed for young adults, and I really don't know any young adult that's gonna enjoy this. I would highly recommend the other Fear Street novels, the past ones, because from memory they're not as cheesy as this, but this one, very cheesy. So I rated this one a 1 out of 5 stars. I was thoroughly disappointed. However, I did want to give them another go, so I picked up Don't Stay Up Late, the second book in the continuation of the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine. Again, very cheesy. I saw what was coming. There was something slightly different and I rated a 2 out of 5 stars, but I really wouldn't recommend. Quite disappointed with them. I'm sorry, R.L. Stine, but you've let me down. So I kind of left them feeling meh and just really not sure what I wanted to read next. And I got this book sent for me for review and I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick it up because, as you can see, it's a big book, but I'm like, no, I got sent it for review. I'll pick it up, and I'm glad I did. It was A Crucible of Souls by Mitchell Hogan. I was sent this by Harper Voyager, so thank you very much, Harper Voyager, for sending me this my way. It's an adult fantasy book and I just finished it last night. As with fantasy books, there's a lot going on in this book and I enjoyed it for the most part. There are multiple perspectives in this book, however, at some points it was confusing to me as to where they were set, if they were present or not. And it wasn't until later in the book I managed to get to where they were set and who they were. I feel like it would have been much better designed at the start of each chapter if it had the character's name of who would be reading. And I don't know if it was just me who got confused over some of the things were set in present or past. It might have been obvious from the start. However, the first 100 pages when I read this book, I was reading at like 5 a.m. and so I could have easily missed it then, and that's why. So I'm not really too sure, but overall I enjoy it. It follows a guy named Calden who was living with monks and he was training with them, and then he finds out that his parents, who he originally thought died in a fire, were actually brutally murdered, and now the murderers might be after him. Then some events happen at where he is staying and he is kicked out and he has to go live on his own and decide what to do next. While he's doing that, he's also trying to discover more of what happened to his parents, and he's also pretty talented with magic. I'm going to call it magic. I'm not really sure if that's the right word, but I would say it is. He has this really good skill of crafting, which he uses quite a lot through this book, and it's really interesting on how this author develops this world. This book was also self-published, I believe, back a few years ago, but then I think Harper Voyager bought it back and published it themselves with the author, and it just shocks me because I guess I have this kind of negative view, which I probably shouldn't on self-published books. I know that's very, I guess, stuck up of me to say, but I normally wouldn't really pick up a self-published book. So to find out that this one was a self-published book was a pleasant surprise, and I guess I don't know why I'm giving self-published books such a bad rap in my mind, but it definitely makes me more open to reading self-published books in the future. However, this one isn't self-published anymore because obviously Harper Voyager picked it up. Even though I did have a couple of issues with it, I did really enjoy it and I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I'll be doing a review of it, which hopefully should be out shortly. So yeah, these are the 14 books that I read in the month of August. As you can see, I kind of slowed down with my reading after the Booktubeathon readathon, but however, I had a lot going on in the month of August, and so I think it's pretty much forgivable, but still 14 books is pretty good and I'm pretty happy with myself. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more book related videos to me, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!